Good morning, traders out there. Who's ready to get back into it? Santa Claus is almost here and we're ready to get trading, team. So if you're ready to get like me and continue this green week, let's get right to the action. It's already 9 o'clock, so no need to get into too much talk. We'll go right to the trading action. There's a lot of stocks moving out there. Did you guys see the quantum move? Man, what a trade. We get retail action. Of course, that came in already at 8:30. We'll talk a little bit about what I could see getting a little bit of a Santa Claus rally. And one major sign of concern that I see in the market. Stick around here, like always, guys. Smash the like. Let's get the show started, guys. Let's go. You know where you're at. It's TTP Live. Wants 200, baby. You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at. What's up? What's up out there, guys? What's up? Yeah, baby. Got the Santa Cat going today. I might have to play some Santa tunes and get a little monetization taken off, but I don't want to get in trouble. Smash the like, guys. Let's go. All right, guys, let's take a look at what's going on in the market. And, oh, you guys get to see the conversations, the good stuff. All right, let's keep it going, guys. Let's take a look at what's going on in the market today. Quantum computing. QUBT, guys, and who was talking about this yesterday as this stock was starting to move up, man? And yesterday I talked about how it broke 7 and was starting to make the move. It got up there to 8. By the time we looked at it, it was already up here around 780s, and that was just the beginning of the move. This thing continued going all day long. Do you see how it didn't even come back to the 1590 MA there? If you look at the 1 minute, look how strong that move was, guys. It just held. Didn't come back to the VWAP at all until like freaking after hours, right? Like it still hasn't touched the VWAP. And I think that's an important thing. When the stocks don't come back to VWAP, these are stocks that we want to look to see if we can ride the trend with it. So these are also really good scalping vehicles, right? So a lot of times people ask me like, what type of stock for what type of trade? So when a stock can just continue grinding higher, because this is what this is doing. It was grinding higher the whole pretty much day. These are stocks that are easy to scalp because it is going higher with very limited downside move. So a lot of times what you want to be thinking of in scalps, you want momentum higher, but you also don't want it to be in a stock that goes up and down just as fast because that's going to be very hard to trade. So one of the ways to look into scalping that could be more profitable, right, is trading a stock that's just trending. And how do we find those stocks? We can look at the daily chart to see that they just don't come down. So when you see a penny stock or a small stock like this that gets a big move like this, right, where it went to 450 right out the gates, and that was back in November, and it pulls back and takes another move, then consolidates sideways like this one did, and then goes for another move. Yes, this is not just a move based on technical analysis. This has something to do with story. Now fundamentals changing because as the stock rises, of course, what happens? You start to get higher market capitalization and you start to look more attractive, right? And so I think this is a clear example of quantum taking the leap. And why did quantum take the leap in the first place? Well, I think that we got this next move because Google started talking about quantum. And it's always about understanding that when bigger players start to mention a technology, the smaller players really truly get the appreciation because until that time, they're viewed as just, rockets, like, lottos, right? And so a lot of people were looking at, let's say, IonQ like it was a lotto move. I got to be honest. I even thought that this was way too far. And I'm going to always keep it real with you guys. Why? Because this is a move that's too far. This is the move that completely changes the fundamentals of a company. And at some point, this company will be overvalued, right? But for right now, it's riding the momentum and it's riding the retail story. And when it rides that story is what can move stocks the most, even more than technicals, even more than fundamentals, even more than the overall market. I'll be honest. There's nothing like story for a stock. That's why when I first started trading, I called myself the story investor. Why? Because I was always just searching for the next story. And that's very especially important for quantum. And you're seeing it there. So we can talk about these RGTI that I brought up before it made that move there from 8 to 10 yesterday. We were talking about this one because it showed up on quantum computing with NVIDIA, Amazon, that had QIS, the QS, right? It's Q. There's this other one that's a little bit smaller, but it had QUBTS, right? And this one was one that we talked about. And look at the liftoff in this thing. This one went from $4 to $8. I mean, these are amazing, amazing swing trades also. I think that's also something to think about. And keeping in mind that now these are extended, we got to be careful though. So we got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to keep it going. Looks like it's Tuesday, so we should get my man Steven. I got to go check in on Steve in a second here. I've been super busy with, Christmas stuff and trying to get all the gifts bought out. But hey, you know how that goes. You guys in the chat, say hello. It's good to see you guys. Good morning to you guys out there. 4 stocks over 100%. Going to be a wild ride today, Shane. Yes, 100%. Appreciate the love, Jim. Let's keep it going. Let's see what we can find. And this PRTG, man, I'm not going to lie. I almost shorted this thing at 1040. I should have gone for it, but I was getting ready for the Trader TV interview, and I was like, yo, Mitch, you can't get stuck trading this and then just be like cross-eyed while you're in an interview. But look, when this thing went up there to 1040, I had this thing already drawn out. And I love that TC always gives you the dates there. It clearly says there, created 9/18. Yes, I updated it a slight bit, but it's created right there. So I was looking at the 1035, 1040 area as a resistance in the past that could act as kind of a holding spot for the stock there. So I was looking for it to turn around off that 1040, and it did get a little bit above that, right? It did do this spike here where it went to 1140s. I was just looking for one more spike above the 1040s to get short, and that would have been this spike here. It still made this spike that went to 1077, but man, right back down after that, down to 905. Then it also made sense on this pop back towards 10. And where does this pop go to? Right around that 940, that 1040, 1044. So back above, let's say 1050, the stock could still get hot. But there's so many of stocks that are moving a big amount. Even this Teva. Look at this Teva this morning, guys. Big move on this one. And there's a lot of news out there. There's a lot to take a look at today. So chat, keep it going. Today's one of those days, of course, that we're a little bit later, closer towards the open here. So I can't cover it all. I normally do, but I'm going to bring on my man, Steve, and we'll try to attempt that. How about we do that? So let's go ahead. Let's bring on the man himself, Justy Trades.
Howdy. Hey, good to be here. How's it going, Mitch?
I gotta get the display names to show there so that at least we can get that going a little bit. Gotta give my man here a little love on Twitter, right? You guys, hey, give us a follow. You guys see the tags there. It's always good to kind of be with other traders, right? And that's what I always talk about, because one of the hardest thing is to find other traders that just want to take this as like a real thing, because there's a lot of people, that will be in and out of this game, but there's going to be a few that are going to stick around, and they're going to be around for a long time. That's why I'm always looking for that few, right? I'm always trying to be, let's say, not a competitive game. When I look at other traders, I don't try to compare myself with them. I try to think about them. Are you really in this as a business-like approach, and are you trying to be a trader for the long run? Right? Because those are the group that I want to be around, because we're going to grow together, right? Because that's the way I see it. I view trading as something more like a lot of hard sports, right? Where you don't get it, you don't get it, and then finally you do, and you get to reap the reward, right? But that's how it is a lot of the times. It's tough, 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 and then things just start to feel so much better when you really start to hone in your skills. It's good to see you, Steve. How you doing, man?
Likewise, man. Doing okay. Thanks for bearing with me last week while I was all
You
head
feeling
cold.
better, man?
Feeling a little better. We're ready to cook here. It's
All right, all right, all right. I had to get you better, man, because I was worried about you there, man.
I appreciate that. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Feeling the holiday cheer today, and definitely the market's been feeling the holiday cheer. But
Oh yeah.
yesterday, I did see a warning sign. I talked about it. I want to bring it up here. You guys know how I watch the VIX, and I'll go with the VXX because that's just what I used commonly. But yesterday, we did a weird move. There's very rare times where the VIX goes up and the market goes up. I can tell you right now, there's probably, I can count them on my hands, the times that I've seen this. Very rare does that happen. And I've been watching the VIX for quite a while now, especially the last couple of weeks, because it has taken a dip. And then I've been looking at this hourly around the 43s. I watch this all the time on the intraday action, but you can clearly see it here on the daily too. How the 43s were just acting as resistance, resistance, resistance. And now we've just made this kind of leap above. That's a big warning sign. So usually this doesn't necessarily mean that the market's going to turn today. Doesn't need to be that. But it does tell me, watch out. So like, let's say like if I was in a lot of swing trades, let's say if I was like 10, 12 swing trades deep and they were all in the green and I was feeling good, this is usually that day where I'd be like, all right, time to start setting some stops here to protect myself, or maybe trailing stops to ride that last little bit of momentum. Right. And so this is just a sign of concern. And I think that that's where traders sometimes get it twisted. Signs of concerns are just warning signs. And we all need to pay attention to when the light turns yellow, right? Because it's been green for a while now, and we don't want to wait till it shows red. As simple as that, right? Like, sometimes I try to keep it simple, right? And I think that that's the way we got to look at it. This is the yellow light.
Right. It's just a little warning, right? Because we are out of that range. So for me, I just see like something's out of line, right? Something's out of place. Maybe VIX is wrong, right? Maybe the market
Maybe
snaps
VIX is
back in.
wrong.
But
100%.
I don't know about you, but I don't like betting that the VIX is wrong too regularly. Like somebody's a little antsy, and I think you're right. It's cautious here,
And I trade the VIX, but we always got to remember what the VIX truly is, right? The VIX is what? It's the level of uncertainty. It's a way to do what? It's a way to hedge for the big money, right? Let's just be honest. What do? They usually buy like long-term options when they're really cheap. A day like a panic or a day of like euphoria in the market when the VIX is dropping really fast and those options get really cheap, they buy protection, right? Because that is like a hedge, and just in case something happens. Then they wake up that day, their portfolio is down big, but then they look at their VIX option and their VIX option's ripping, which is catching up some of that loss, right? And so, of course, that's what we need to keep in mind. So now what I'd be watching, and I'm not that type of trader, but if I really wanted to go to the extreme, I'd watch the open volume on those contracts, on VIX contracts. See if that's increasing. Because if that's increasing, what does that mean? That's traders buying protection, right? And so that's just one way to think about it for like the real bigger time traders that are really concerned about market turns. But I keep that information in here because if you want to take your skills to the next level, it's about doing all of that, right? Knowing the options, knowing how that's moving. Even if you're not an options trader, it's sometimes good to just take a look at the put and call ratios to see how that's moving, right? And see how that's developing. Are we starting to see a shift in sentiment, right? And I think that we've been riding that euphoria, and we could continue. Look at this. I got some euphoric plays too. What about GME? Look at GME, guys.
Yes, I'm so glad you're mentioning it.
I'm with you, man. And this looks like a classic cup and handle. And so, trade the pool, guys. Trade the pool. You know it, my friend. Let's cup and handle pattern here as we look for it, and we'll be watching for it. You can see that cup right here. And when you make a nice little peak, the one thing I always look for, if you go to break that 9, the rule of three going into that 1, 2, 3, and now you're right back to the top, right? And so you've attempted to break down, essentially.
Right.
That's what that tells me. And now you're reversing the momentum. So now I want to see, do you break through a key resistance? To me, that's been 30 because I've traded it after hours. And I can tell you right now, there's been someone selling in the 29 like 80s, 29 90s. I was up like $300-$400 multiple times on this trade and kept breaking even on it pulling back. Why? I was trying to play a little hero on that after hours. But
you got to do it right on GME of all stock.
GME, man. It's like when I buy it, I view this thing like a lotto ticket. And as long as I don't lose a lot of money, I'm happy, right? Exactly. That's the way I think about it, right? I'll buy a lotto ticket. I'll take a $10, $20 hit. But when I was up 400, all it needed was to break that 30. And I think the next day it might have gapped to like 34, 36. And then I wake up and I'm up $2,000, right? So I think that, some of that is understanding. And that was with the day trade account. So you guys that like talk about like, you can't swing with the day trade account. You can, just very limited swing. And I think that's actually a smart thing, right? Because trust me, and you can ask the chat. I'm sure a future will come and tell you about it. That overnight swing game, it's a tough game too. I've been in that game, but you can't go crazy in that game. You have to go limited sizing, and then you learn to be able to deal with volatility. But hey,
otherwise it ages you, man. I can tell you, it ages you to swing too much.
Next year, guys, look for big things in swing trading from me, because the big thing with me, of course, I have had the twins, and that's taken over a lot of my life in swing trading, because the truth is swing trading has a lot to do with that story approach that I talked to you about, right? Mm-hmm. So like, let's say buying a basket of quantum, buying a basket of metaverse plays, and that's the approach that I like to take into swing trading. So I say, okay, I like these top 3 players, and I'm going to separate my money in these top 3 players, and I'm going to go about them each chart differently. So just what the chart shows me, I'm going to trade them like that, but it's going to be the same amount of money. That might have to adjust the share size, but that's when things get a little bit more complicated. We'll talk more about that so that you guys can develop that swing trading game. And look forward to maybe some swing trading changes. I'm pushing on them, guys. I'm pushing on them out here. I want to see some more buying power, as they say, in the swing accounts, and so that way we can have some more fun, right? I mean, we're all looking to have some good time. All right, let's catch up with the traders in the chat before the market open here. The market's about to open. Good to see you guys out there. Wisdom, Shane out there, AC. Let's do it, guys. Let's go trading. Let's see what we can do today, guys. There's still so much to talk about. I mean, if I go through just the kind of the sunrise report really quickly, of course, big eyes on the FOMC tomorrow, but don't worry about that today. Pfizer climbing in the pre-market. It gave some revenue forecasts that looked pretty good. Predicted revenues between 61 billion and 64 billion. So that's doing well today. RCAT is one name to keep an eye out for. This is all about the drone action. And did you guys see that we have UFOs in New Jersey? Oh, yes. Either UFOs or some big ass drones. So one of the two, man. One of the two. I don't know what it is, man. I saw them, man. And I'm not even going to lie. The other day I was watching something in the sky and I was like, yo, what the heck is that, dude? That does not look like a plane. But hey, there's a reason why we're not going to get into that. I always say when I leave a cup of water out, I don't know if you guys watched that movie Signs. I'm always like, that's to kill the aliens, dude. Just in case they come. The wife kills me on that one, but we won't get into that.
Mitch, we were raised on the same classics. That's exactly where my head's at. Trust me, you're not alone.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, I leave the water and I'm just like, yeah, that's for the aliens. Don't worry about it.
Oh man, Santa, him and his milk, they can wait. We got priorities here, you know?
Yes. We'll see what happens here, guys. PRTG, so many names out there, and you guys throw up some names if you guys got anything. Let me get my scanner radar. I'm going to get my scanner here because I know that there's going to be some small names probably rocking and rolling. And let me know, guys, what you guys want to see changed. I'm going to actually make a survey, guys, that I'll be putting out in the next couple of days until the end of the year. And this survey is going to be really all about what do you want to see on this show, right? Because I'm the man of the people, man. I'm willing to do what you guys want, what you guys want to grow in, right? And that's what it's all about, right? Because that's what I'm here for. At the end of the day, guys, trust me, I could just go trading, right? And if I wanted to, I could just do that. But I enjoy being with you guys. I always talk about it. The one phrase, pay it forward, is so important. For even like my man Jorge is going to be on tomorrow, right? He's learning it too. And that's why he wants to come on, right? He got funded and he wants to come on. Why? Because he just wants to pay it forward for other traders. Like, it's so important for other traders that, and we know because we battle so much, that we want to see things go to the green, right? And we want to help others and get to success. Let's do it, guys. RCAT dropping fast here. It looks like we might see a little quantum move on the downside on the pullout, but look at QBT, man, already down there towards 14, but that got to 1450 in the pre-market. It did get a nice little spike down here towards 1150s, and boy, oh boy, now we're on a little bit of a pullback. We'll look to see if it can reclaim back to 1470s. That's the resistance on the top end. Rejection from 14s could be fades. We're seeing some fade action right there. SPY and Q down. Tesla wiping down, guys. Wiping down. The VIX just shooting, guys. So this is kind of the sign, the warning sign that I was looking at here. I could scalp the VIX here, and it seems like that's exactly what I could do. But that's a scalp, right? Because it's going to pull back at some point. At least I could see it here. So let me see if I could get a little scalp here going on a pullback. I'm looking for a cut down back the lead, like kind of the offer drop in between this 43.90s. So let's see if we can get this drop to like 43.80s, 43.90s on the offer. I'll take a little bit there just to take a little bit to try to get a starter going here. Let's see if we can get it there.
We have SPY looking pretty heavy. I'm watching yesterday's I'm watching the pre-market, the aftermarket close, and then cash session lows too.
All right, guys. I don't know if it's happening to anybody else, guys, but I will let you guys know I'm seeing at least a little exposure issue on my account. So I'll get mine fixed, but make sure you check on yours. So this is what I always talk about sometimes, and I'm going to be honest as can be, like always, guys. Checking your exposure in the morning is very important. I didn't get a chance to try to check some orders this morning, but yeah, I'm not being able to put out some exposure there, and I should be able to put it out there on the VXX. So like always, guys, check that. I just want to make sure that you guys don't go through the same struggle as I, but I will get that checked out right now. So like always, guys, I always tell you guys it's straight, and you guys see me dropping in there and going straight to it. I'm going to go find out how I can get this fixed up for us.
So a nice little recovery on SPY there. It wasn't able to close any candles under any major levels from the past couple days or anything. That's encouraging. Now I'd like to see it swing above that 604.90 if this move is real. Right now I could expect some more chopping, maybe a retest of that low area below the 604 handle. Gonna keep an eye there. VIX is holding up here for now, but you know, so we got a little bit of choppy time here left before we make any real decisions. I'm gonna go around the horn here and see if anything's standing out. Seeing GME chatting, that's always nice to see. We're through that 30 handle.
Yeah, GME, man, that pop on 30, man. Dude, there's a reason why I brought it up. I even talked about it on Trader TV. I said, where's the memesters at, man? Because I feel like they're waking up.
I never left.
This is that type of day, dude. This is that type of day where you're just sometimes, okay, I'll be honest, guys. Sometimes stocks just trade illogically. And that's just the pure facts of it. Don't fight it. This is what happens to a lot of us traders. We see it and we're like, this shouldn't happen. Get that out of here. No, dude, that's when you get wrecked, dude.
Yeah.
Don't fight.
Whenever you're willing a stock not to do what you think it shouldn't be doing, you're asking for it, right?
Yeah, don't fight what you're seeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The truth is it's okay to have predetermined outlooks and objective outlooks, right? But don't get subjective when something's clearly telling you something objectively, right? It's telling you clearly that it's ripping. I'm not going to go in there and be like, oh, no, you should not rip.
Right.
You should go to zero. That's a clear example of how shorters get wrecked.
Say you're a GME bear too. You don't have to long the thing, you know? Just don't put yourself in front of a meat grinder, you know?
Yeah, just don't watch it today.
Just don't watch it. I will be watching it, but no, Mitch. One of the things I always say, it's okay to be wrong. This game's super hard. You know, there's tons of moving parts. It's not okay to identify being wrong and just keep sending it. You know.
I'm back on, guys. At least for you guys out there to take a look there. I'm back on. Monster going up there tells me to take a look at Celsius Holdings today, guys. I've been keeping an eye on this one. And a lot of this is also a banknote that came out recently. I was watching it before the banknote, but it looks like they're watching TTP live here as this is starting to come back. Celsius, Monster making a nice little move there. Momentous. Sorry. That's an error on my part. I thought it was Monster there. Momentous. So this is aerospace and defense, and it's making some crazy moves here. So I'd take a look into this space to see what's moving on there. Could be ATS. Yeah, ASTS. That's getting a nice little lift there. So we're seeing a little bit of some space. Let's see SPCE. Yeah, look at the momentum names. This is straight up momentum city, man. GME is what I'm looking at. SPCE, did it just halt? Oh no, it's just slow, but it's getting a little spike. That just shows me there we're having that kind of momentum day. Yet the market's coming down here, so just be careful. I think we'll still get a little bit of a lift here. I'm watching for the lift here. I'm not trying to trade the VIX.
On your space thing here, Lunar is very strong. LUNR, that one's just starting to range break.
Yeah, something's happening there, right? And so the themes, right? Aerospace and defense. So we're going to go into that area and we're going to start taking a look. So there's my industry outlook, and then we'll go to the high cap names first. That's where you start. You take a look to see if any of those names are up. Boeing getting a lift on this, right? It's in the similar space, aerospace and defense. So that's doing well. NOC getting a lift there. So some defense names taking a lift. Now let's take a look at the top movers in there. You got SIDU. Remember this one from yesterday? Whoa. This one was rocketing yesterday. I saw Ross Cameron trade this one. I always give you guys alert when the Furus trade it. But we'll see if this one goes through 7 there. But definitely, I think this one's on a halt right now. So just keep an eye out on this. Why would the other ones move? It just moves down the line. KWE was one that was moving just earlier this morning that is in the similar space. It could start to get the lift now. I'm keeping an eye out on it right now. Momentous is also back at 1030. This looking good. Q's going down there. VIX jumping through the 44. So all things that we are looking at pretty much still rocking and rolling. Interesting to see that GME is being able to get this lift even with the market taking this down turn, right? And so look to see if we get a rip back, right? I'm not saying that we have to break down today, but at the first opening, wouldn't it be smart to scare out the bulls and then maybe come back? So that's what I'm looking at, just thinking psychology-wise. Let's get after it, traders. Let's go, man.
Let's see for my little GME play-by-play here, in case anybody is long with me, just because this was a swing for me. So I didn't get any fancy entries this morning, but I am looking for that 3150 to 32 zone. I think that's going to be a pretty responsive area to look for a little bop back down today. I think that we're still onwards and upwards here, on track for 34 is the next big target for me, 3370. And ideally, we get a 40 push out of this in the next week or so. So fingers crossed. We'll see how it goes. But I'm on meme watch, Mitch. Don't worry. I got you.
All right, guys, taking a little bit of momentous there. Just 100 shares here. Just started seeing it pop. I will say that I got a little bit of a tough fill there. Just the offer jumped right when I did the market. Should have gone with the limit. I was setting it up, but since I didn't have the price set up there, it took a little while to get it ready there. But you guys see me there. I got 1037, so I'm down a slight bit here. Looking to see if momentous can get back above the 1050s here. Could cut towards the 10, so just keeping that in mind. As kind of the risk here, but looking for the push right back up here as SIDU maybe gets out of the halt and starts to push higher. KWE is the other one that I was considering here, but it's just more which one do I want to go to. You see how KWE is starting to get the volume too. So the 15-minute chart looks good on this after the 140s. Now maybe a dip to 130 seems like a buying opportunity. We'll see what happens there. Look at that 145 already starting to lift there. KWE. This is why you use industries and sectors, right? Because look how 2 or 3 of these names that are small are all in the same space, right? And so this is why I try to talk so much about sector and industry analysis and looking into that so that you can find plays like that versus just looking at what stock is moving.
Man, I was hoping the UFO stock would be moving, but it is not budging. There's an ETF that I always wanted to do crazy stuff, but it's kind of dead, I think. Great ticker.
Yeah. I mean, there's also that UAVS. I'd keep an eye out. Here's Momentous finally getting that pop here. We're back towards the 1040s, 1050s on the top side here. I'm going to add here, guys. I'm going to go for an add at that 1050 there and just start to hold down for a tight risk here. Just got to be careful for the 10 takedown. Look at the spread spreading out there. That is a tough spread. I'll tell you that right now. The spread just got wide, man. That thing went wide. That thing went 50 cents wide here. There's a little push here. I got to be careful with this one. I'll be honest, guys. I'll be honest. It's just a little bit scary. The only reason I'm staying with it, the 15 minutes has 3 rides up above the 1140. So the above the 1140 gives me that outlook that, yeah, I can still risk like $50 here because I have potential of just going at least $1. So we'll see what happens if we can get the lift above 1075s. I think is a really important area. That's going to be where you can really get the strength through 11.
The trade on GME for the morning might be over here. Looks like they're starting to dump when it got over 31 there. So I'm going to be watching for a flag out, but it could be the end of the party for the morning here. I'm still loving the swing though. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's starting to really shape out in the daily.
All right, we'll see if KWE starts to make that move. Also, I'm keeping an eye out on that one. It got to the 150s, pulling back here to the 138s. Keeping an eye out there. Saidu, did that reopen yet? Let me see when that halted. It should be reopening right now in about a minute here, unless it's going to go for a 10-minute halt, but it should be reopening in just a second here. I think it's on a 10-minute halt, right? Yeah, it's on a 10-minute halt, I think. Oh, no, 5 minutes. It should be opening up any second now. So with that, I'm going to look for Momentous to get that momentum when Saidu opens there. So
just
I'm going to keep an eye on it.
All sectors showing red except for healthcare for me. So that's something to keep an eye on there. You know, we might.
Ooh, this is a fun one right here because what you just said is so important. But that's why I watched change from the open. So
right.
Healthcare, real estate, and technology slightly, like 0.04. But healthcare and real estate are the ones that are green from the open,
Gotcha.
right? And so that's why I love the overall change comparison to the percentage since open, right? And then I look at recently I've been doing this, and you see this on the right-hand side here, is that I have this one set to 1 hour. So at some point later in the day, like just what's the strongest in the recent hour is more important to me, right?
That's
not
so
just
nice for, like, coming back from lunch, or those momentum shift periods. Yeah, totally.
Exactly, dude. Like exactly. That. Especially after, like, let's say 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock. There's always like this 2 to like 3:30 range where I really like to make sometimes some trade, and these are going to be so like measured out that I literally put them in and throw the phone on the side. That's how it is, dude. That's how it is on those trades. But that's all about just catching the momentum and just trying to see what's really going on underneath the hood. All right, guys, we'll see what happens here. Saidu hasn't reopened just yet. Momentous now taking a downturn, so I'm being a little bit careful with this. But glad I'm only at 200 shares. If I was, let's say, 500 or even 600, I'd already be getting cut out of this. So just trying to stick around here, see if I can get the momentum and Momentous to lift here. All right, getting that 10 attempt here. So just got to be a little bit careful here as it's back towards the 10.05. Really don't want to crack 10 here. If it does crack 10, I'll start getting out, especially 990. That's about a 107 risk.
Looks like SPY woke up here. Really nice bid stick over the range. I'm watching for continuation now over the 604.18 handle. Looking pretty good on both.
Still not open. I'm getting hit here on Momentous, but looking to see if it can start to move up. Monster was making a move. I just went to the wrong stock there.
You felt it though. You felt it though. We're getting nice follow through on the bid stick on SPY now. Watching 604.67. That's the 200-minute moving average that capped us in pre-market twice. If you can flip that, then we're really cooking. A good flip would look like a candle close over 604.90 and then back testing that 67 handle for me.
Oh, so just got hit on Momentous. The spreading it out there and just took a hit there. 172 down on that one. We'll let that one go there, but definitely getting a big hit there. SIDU might be on the downside when that reopens. We'll see what happens on that one. KWE, how did that one turn out there? It's also starting to make a little bit of a downturn there, but it held the 130 pretty well there on that quick little dip. That's kind of the dip that I was looking to get in on KWE. We'll look to see if that one goes back to the 150, but SIDU, and Momentous is holding on the 15-minute support. It could have just been a wipeout to the 15 minutes, so I could show you that right here. And why I was even looking at it in the first place, watching for another move back towards that 1150. We'll see what happens there. GME, how's that doing there? 3150 there on that pop. What a move there. We'll see if this can continue making a move here. Maybe a pullback to 30 makes sense. How's the VIX doing there? Qs came back up towards green now, so VIX should be back down towards VWAP there, trying to hold VWAP bounce on the 44s. So now you got to make your call out there. Let's see how strong stocks we're doing, like Micron, AVGO, right? How are those stocks? They are red. Let's see if they go back to green. Microsoft making a big lift here. That's doing well. Apple, of course. Wouldn't you know it, man? Dude, honestly, I could just play Apple every day. Like right now, it's just been that type of stock to play every day because it just keeps lifting, and it's a nice little lift when it lifts, right? Like you can see here, it doesn't even come back to the 9 for like $1 or $2. So like in between there's money to be made for sure. We'll see what happens with this, but definitely big boys doing well here. Meta trying to recover VWAP. Amazon, let's see how that's pretty red there. NVIDIA, of course, wouldn't you know, it's still leaking as the sell-off in NVIDIA continues, and the shift to Apple is what I've been seeing, man. They're just buying Apple, selling NVIDIA. Look at the charts. They're just opposites, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think SMH for the first time since the NVIDIA thing, it's underweight. I think like 12% underweight. So, I mean, it's interesting to see the basket shifting here. I think that investment-wise, it's pretty bullish I think that we're kind of extending this potential bullish run by kind of spreading the baskets out, like if we're just pumping mega caps right now and then money's still waiting to flow back into semis, like just imagine when it's NVIDIA's time to party, that'll give us some more juice to extend the rally.
SIDU coming crashing back down after the open there. It could come into a down hole now. It looks to me like that. I was going to even short it there. I had you could sell here. I had sell clicked. Was ready to go for it, but I'm like, Mitch, this is not your trade. You're just trying to revenge Momentous. Leave it alone, Mitch. So I respected myself there, but you can see there, SIDU now on the down hole. So I could see that coming. You can see because the price action, right? Because I can read price action there to tell me that, but it's not my type of trade, my strategy. So I stayed off of it there. Definitely hard hit there. Google strong. Of course, Quantum having a good day, right? Well, the momentum going from those to Google also makes complete sense. And Microsoft makes complete sense, right? Don't forget Microsoft will be a part of that quantum move, right? I think that some people are not thinking about that, but 100%, right? So I think those three right there, Apple, Microsoft, Google, those are the names I like of the top tech right now. And there's a reason why. The money seems like it's going there. And if you look in the daily, you look at the performances, you look how Microsoft is holding the 9 EMA on pullbacks. The momentum's there, right? The momentum's there on Apple. Look how Apple just doesn't even phase that 9 EMA right now. Mm-hmm. It's not phasing it. And so these are the type of stocks that I talk about are good, also scout vehicles on the upside. We talked about that earlier as a lesson. We'll bring it back as a lesson, right? These are the stocks that are going to make sense for scalps to the upside. Why? Because there's very limited daily downside action. All right. Tesla's one of those names. It's been one of those names, but we'll see if that turns today. That's been one of the crazy stocks. I'll tell you that. Look at the first wick on that 15-minute.
You're not done partying.
That's a savage wick. That's a savage wick on the 15-minute. Siding on the back down action. Disney popping a little bit, and we'll see if that gets shorted again later today. QUBT up there by 15, but now starting to come back down. This thing actually went into a halt, QUBT. So I think this might be a little bit of a shorting opportunity here.
It seems a little overdone. I mean, I know it's the quantum basket, it's the crazy meme leverage, but still, I don't know. It's quite a move.
I'm going to take a little bit here, just 100 shares just to feel it, feel it out a little bit.
Sometimes you nothing
that will break me, right? It's just something just to feel it out, just to see what's going on here. The real rejection I want to see is off this 38, but I had a feeling they could do a flush to the VWAP. And then we're going to see if it goes into a down halt, because it did just come out of an up halt here when it did this quick move. So now it could come into essentially a down halt here. We're starting to get into some deeper green here, so at least not looking too bad on that first action. I'm in that 1504s here, so at this point, just got to hold break even and just look to see if it just keeps going, right? Just keep going. Not adding here is going to be an important thing for me, because if I add here, I'm just going to ruin it. I'm in the middle of the chart on a bigger time frame, so when you're in the middle of the chart on the time frame and I'm over here at 15, there's just no sense to me to kind of push it and add, because I'm just going to go to the bottom end and get a little bit of a spike and I'm out. So we'll see what happens here. The momentum just is a breakdown. Back through my level gets me to go and try to short around like the 1550s or 1575 breakdown, right? So we'll see what happens if this goes right back to VWAP. That's 14, and then I can make a quick little $100, right? Can't be mad about that.
Yeah, 14 is a nice kind of off ramp, so to speak. You're getting in the top 25%-ish of the trade at 15, getting out of the bottom third-ish or so in that range that we were talking about there.
All right, here's an alert here, guys. I'm calling out Ethereum. This is one that I talked about on Trader TV today. I'd like to see one more pullback, but a lot of times when ETHU goes, it doesn't turn around here. So I'm just going to look for a small grind type of trade here on ETHU. But there's QUBT going money.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right, so I'm probably just going to take the money. There it is, guys. I just took the money and ran with it. The big reason why I'm taking the money and running with it, it's right on 15-minute support. There's no reason why I can't just bounce right back up to 15 here. And yeah, I could have gone with bigger size, but I'm just trying to also just get back some of the cash there. And it was really more of a feeler type of trade to start seeing if quantum was coming right back down. So QUBTS is another one to keep an eye out for. This just went to 950s and is slightly above VWAP, right? So remember, these had monster moves yesterday, and they're expanded way above the Bollinger Bands. They could come crashing down.
That's a nice snipe exit there. It's already up like 5%.
Yeah, dude. It was just more. It was more like, I clearly could have got greedy there, but I was like, no, this is the trade. It should have just been with bigger size, right? Bigger size would have got me back in there. Right?
And that's such good discipline, because you got the move. It was just faster than you were really expecting, and any of us were really expecting, right? But you didn't go, oh, well, time to move the goalposts. You're just like, oh, cool. I got paid faster than I thought, this is a day job, right? We're working per hour, whether we think about it that way or not.
Yeah, I see the Qs and the SPY heavy here, so just be careful out there, guys. I see that pretty heavy. The SPY a little bit better than the Qs, but it's just kind of running into a little bit of some kind of turbulence. And what I'm more important is the turbulence in tech, because that's what's important here. Because Amazon's a little bit in the red, Apple's holding up, right? Microsoft is holding up, Google's holding up. Those are the names that will hold us up higher. But it's always fun to see when the market's struggling, and yet you got these big boys just holding up the day, man. Look at Microsoft saying, "Forget you Qs." And then if you think about it, I forgot the percentage, but it's like an insane amount what Apple, Microsoft, and Google would make up in the Qs. It's like we're talking like 30-40%. So
oh yeah, it's crazy, right? I mean, I think it's pretty unprecedented, the amount of heavy lifting the top well, let's call it 7 conservatively, but really the top 3 or 4 names at any one given time are pushing, you know. It's
All right.
it's a little spooky, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, if the other names catch up, then that's a broadening range rally. So what can you say? So
All right.
cues, we were
Big
talking about
move
those.
here.
Oh,
What
I'm
are you
sorry.
seeing, man? What are you seeing? What are you seeing? I want to hear it. I want to hear it from the man, Steve himself. What are you
So
seeing, man? Give us a good view.
Let me hop on my camera here and show you what I'm seeing. It's not too crazy, but it is a little something something. So for
There we
cues here,
go.
we came down in the morning and tagged these hourly triggers that I love to see. So if we're
Good
going to have a
man.
crazy continuation move here, I'd love to see this action. You know, there's a clear buyer down here. Where we go right up to my thick purple line here, this 200-minute moving average. This is like my Bible for intraday movement here. So I was talking earlier about SPY. That was what I wanted to see flip and break. So we can flip over to SPY real quick. And what we'll see here is definitely weakness compared to the Qs. In terms of where we are overall, you can see this hourly trigger is still above us on on SPYs compared to Qs. So I'm still definitely seeing strength in tech overall, but what I'm seeing is the money moving, you know, a little bit out of the easy, you know, profit take from Qs, and probably I'd be expecting to look around. I don't know. You mentioned BA, so maybe the Dow Industrial is really kind of having money coming into there. I actually should check that. Microsoft would kind of lend to that theory, but what I'm really watching are these purple lines here. So for SPY, to me, it looks like we are starting to negotiate above and flip this from resistance to support. I got to kind of confirm, you know, wait and see, confirm this, especially if we pop over this this pre-market swing here, then I'd start getting really interested. But
All right,
Qs,
GME getting hot here, guys. I'm taking a
yeah,
little bit of an entry there. I took 100 shares there at 3080s there. 5-minute pullback to the 90 MA, recovering there on the VWAP. So it's just to get a starter there. Continue going, Steve. I just wanted to let you guys know.
no, totally. I love it. Thank you. GME is definitely something I'm still in, as long as we're over like, call it 28, 29. I think that this is a good swing. So this is beautiful action here. On the Qs, the one thing I did want to mention is that we came back and tested this 50% retrace of the range. And what I really liked there is that it didn't even spend a single candle below there. It popped under and immediately said, no, that's too cheap, right? So how I kind of look at that is we have a range set for the day. And whenever it's below the 50%, that's the market saying like, all right, this is kind of on sale, so to speak. When it doesn't stay on sale for long, that's usually a tell for me, right? And you could do the same thing on GME there. Pop a little range, set the range in the morning. We come back down. We do dig into that 50%. But then we swap this around. You look for this golden pocket, these 2 yellow lines here, the 78 fib and the 62 fib. And money just comes right back into that retracement and instantly shows a response. So that's kind of 2 different levels of strength you can look for in a range. On the Qs, it didn't even need the 50%. As soon as it was on sale, people were buying, right? Because we are bulls in a bull market and we buy tech. GME had to come a little bit back more because, you know, a little bit more volatility, a little more rubber bandy action there, but that's kind of what I'm looking at. So for Qs, I'm watching the same little ceiling that's just been kind of booping us. If we can flip this, then we're really cooking, and we can start looking for some stretch targets, probably that 540 handle. So that's kind of where I'm at in terms of trajectory today, at least.
There you go. Looking for the 31 break, seeing if we can break that 31 again here for GME. And we just broke it for a slight second. We went to 3104, looking for them to claim it now, and then I can add.
I'd love to see him sweep that 32 handle from a couple days ago. Yeah, the last swing high there. I'd love to see us swing and close above that, and then we can start really looking for these higher targets.
There's the 3104 showing up again here. So on 31 undercut, boom, I'm adding, and now going to hold break even, look for the breakout here. 3190s will get me out. So 3090s, just setting myself up there, right? A nice simple add, waited for it. Now I can hold to a $3 risk and just look for the push. This is more about momentum and just wanting to continue. If it wants to rip, it's now or never. That's the way I see it on the 5-minute here. Then it goes into like more of a 15-minute outlook and can come back to 30. So Nice 15-minute of resistance held on that pullback where it went back to 30.06, which is the level that we were looking at on the daily, right? That was very important, the 30, right? So when you rip out above 30, an important level on the 15-minute chart, look for pullbacks to that 15-minute chart on that to go ahead and be a level for pullback buys, right? I think that the buyers stepped in there on the 30. And yeah, I'm a little bit above the buyers.
Mitch, I was one of those. I wanted to be a part of the trade. I'm in the long-term trade, but I want to scalp a little on top here, you know.
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. But that's why I'm also break even on it, right? Because I know I'm at 30.90, 92 versus being at like, let's say a 30.10, right? If I was at 30.10, I could hold more towards like just the continued breakout and look for the big move here. Now there's the momentum coming right back in. Now we look for the 15-minute candle on the left to break that 31.45. Let's see if we break the high of day here and start to break out in GME. The memester trade, baby.
Let's go. You never have more fun than when you're trading GME. I don't even care. I don't want to hear it. I respect all opinions, but sometimes they're wrong. And if you don't love GME,
yeah, that's how it is, man. And VIX jumping here, guys. I'm gonna try to get a part on the VIX here.
So Mitch, cut me off if I'm talking over your trade here, but oh wow, yeah, that's dropping nicely.
Yeah, I just took 100 shares there. I'm looking for a little bit more, but I could see the momentum coming fast there. So it just added there, just looking at 200 shares, nothing crazy. Going to hold off the 44 and see this is really rips off here. 44.20 is already showing up there. So just looking for this to kind of break out above that here. Let's see if we get that breakout. The thing that I also saw to the left is I saw Microsoft take a quick dip there. So now I'll look to see if those can break the high again. If Apple can break the high and Microsoft can break the high again, then we're looking all right. But if not, then we could be on a little bit of an altitude down move here. VIX getting a little bit of the spike near an important level too. So that's the kind of the 44 recovery. I'll look for that 44, like in 43.90s to hold now. Look how GME is coming back already, right? So that was my thing too. Don't want to see GME break this 30.92 because if not, it's just right back down. It doesn't mean that I can't play GME later, but I'm also not going to take a risk here that's unnecessary.
Yeah, I might need to flag out for some more time and build out a pennant. Something to consider. Either way, I'm hanging in here as long as we hold this left.
Qs, big dip in Qs.
Yeah, if he's punching through that hourly trigger, we could be setting up a double bottom if it catches pretty soon. This is kind of the ATR shall not pass line, so to speak. Statistically likely that we bounce there if we're going to bounce. Otherwise, we would be looking down into the...
I'm taking the shot on it, guys. I got 400 shares, 44.12s. I'll put mine back up here. I'll show you right now, guys. Here you go, guys. So I'm watching the VIX, of course, on my trading screen, but I'm watching the Qs in front of me. I'm watching Microsoft go red there, and I'm looking to see that the big boys, what's showing up there, right? And I think that's also important, right? Look to see what was strong and seeing if it can stay strong. Google and Apple are those two names, right? Microsoft now going red, NVIDIA already in the red, right? Meta in the red. Amazon was red. AVGO, a big name, right, that's been making moves on pullbacks. Let's see what happens here. And I think we got to just watch the SPY also. SPY just put a little bit of a bounce there at the same level that we caught early in the morning. Let's see if we take that level out here. Rejections on VWAP is kind of what you're looking for the bears. So the bears will start looking to see if we reject around, let's say, 536.25s at the most on the upside. Pretty much 536 is what I'm watching to see if we reject and just keep going lower.
Yeah, Q's looking a little more perky than SPY right there off the support. So I'm thinking that it's not necessarily over for growth today, but we gotta see some sweeps on SPY and then some strong responses.
QUBT might be another short here available to me, so I'm looking at it as potentially it's on a flag pattern, bullish in the 1 minute, but that's a nice trap for the bulls right now. So I'm looking at it potentially maybe coming back towards the next resistance to me around 13.11. So maybe a pullback to 13s here coming into play. That's off the 14. So dollar outside, look here on QUBT. We'll see what happens with those quantum names. Of course, Google's still doing well, but look at QMCO, how this broke down from 31 to 2390s. Jorge, you killing that?
Get it, Jorge.
Get it, bro. Get it. I love to see you guys have success, man. BNTX, Kevin's saying, looking good. BNTX, that's an interesting one. That's healthcare, which is up on the day. There's very rare stocks that are up on the day, but that's one thing to look at. Real estate up also. This is why I like my recent hourly, right? Because this is an interesting outlook now. Let's talk about the hourly. In the last hour, you're going to have defensive, real estate, and healthcare leading. And in the red, technology, industrials, and energy. Random little mix there.
Yeah, that's strange. I wonder what that's telling us with the energy component.
All right, VIX starting to get a little bit of a lift here now above my entry here. So now I want to start seeing this take off here, because if not, it's a pullback to the support.
We are seeing bottom wicks posted on SPY. Nothing like sparking that much joy, but it's showing some interest down here under 604. Really
all right, set a stop there at 44 now for the VIX trade, right? Because at this point, it's like, all right, so it could come back to the 44 before it really takes off, but I'm just looking for it to go now. So 419s come into play. Do we go and see 430s show up? Qs need to break through this 535 now. So you can see you chopped it 1, 2, 3, and this is the rule of 3 coming into play on the 1, right? And so what I would look here is it's usually it's going to be probably momentum, but watch for the wick. Watch for the wick down, right? And that's what I'm going to be looking at here. Do we get a continuation move in, like, let's say Microsoft to the downside, right? So now I'm approaching the rip out on the VIX, but it's also trying to just catch buyers right now on that kind of 419.
And remember, VIX needs a reason to stay elevated. Doesn't have to be a good reason necessarily, but you know, it's not something that goes up just because, you know.
Yeah. Q's getting that little push back here. So there's now been that 1, 2, 3, and an attempt down here. Now we see the rejection comes, and I got hit out of the VIX there as it goes to the 4390 spot there. They could just reload, right? But I'm just going to get out of that, take a small hit there. Let's take a reassessment here where we're at on the day.
We got the bid stick on SPY here. So to me, I think that's a great exit. And I think that we're probably seeing a valid double bottom coming into that time where I would be looking for it. If we can hold over this 604 handle, then I think that we're setting up for a nice, you know, some room to the upside here, so to speak.
Yeah,
Also,
we'll see what happens.
That question in chat. I had a close call today, close to hit my daily loss. Should I stop for the day or keep pushing? I would pump the brakes a little and see how you're feeling. Like, you know, this is a very personalized thing, but for me personally, when I get those speed wobbles and when I feel like I kind of got a hallelujah coming back to me, you know, on the day I'm in the green after a rocky start, there is no shame in just saying, let's
you know, one of the things to keep in mind too, and I agree with that, Steve, and like always, guys, Jorge, you got to make your call, right? It's always your call, and we always say it like that, and I always keep it like that. But at the end of the day, one thing to keep in mind is that, of course, don't forget you're battling in that, right? And so, especially if you're in Nord now, the funded account, the number one thing, our number one rule is not to blow up, just straight up, like. That's the number one rule. So when we make a mistake, we need to realize, was that a mistake in my execution or a mistake in the process, right? Is it a strategic error or just more I made a mistake? If I'm making mistakes, then I'm not on top of my game and maybe I need to cool it down. If it's just strategy and it just this time it went against me, that's okay too, because we're all going to take losses, right? So, but you got to keep that into play, right? And then maybe thinking, hey, did I lose too much, right? Did I lose 2x what I'm normally losing, right? And I think that's another thing to keep in mind, right? Like always, I talk about how you also got to keep in mind the whole overall week. Don't let one day ruin your whole week, right?
Oh, so big, yeah.
Right, because the truth is that's also a responsibility of us as a trader to do. Right, Jorge, it's okay sometimes to just say, today, I don't have it, right? You guys hear from me, and I got to do it live in front of you guys every day, right? There's days where I'm just like, dude, take my hat off. I'm just like, I'm struggling out here. And I'll tell you guys it too, right? Because the truth is that's trading, guys. That's the reality of it. QUBT coming back with momentum to the upside. And with the market coming back here, let's see what happens. I mean, this is also a setup for the up move now. And we're getting squeezes. So I'd look at GME also. I'm keeping an eye on all of them, right? I think they're still in play. I think we got to just look here and maybe give a little bit of some sideline time. Maybe it's right now 10:09, right? A lot of times we see reversals around 9:45, 10 a.m. And now what are we seeing on the Qs? So we look at the Qs right around 10 a.m. We started to reverse back to the upside here. Let's see if we can get some momentum and approach some of these highs that we established in the intraday around like the 537 all the way back there. The momentum comes back in. What I'd watch.
Really quick.
What you got, Steve?
Just on these names, just to back up what you're saying, you know, what I love to look at is on these 15-minute sticks. What are we seeing? We're about 10 minutes in, 2/3 in, and what we're seeing is, well, that formation is really starting to hold up. Let's switch to a 15. What are we seeing? We're just breaking green here. We spent the first 10 minutes pushing down, and now we have 5 minutes to push up and really lock this in, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. We're seeing this hammer start to build out, and then if we start looking on, we got, what, 5 minutes here? Let's look on a 30-minute stick. What are we seeing? We saw a pretty big push down, but indecision, you know, wicks on both sides. We swept that, and now we're pushing up. And if we close green on this 30-minute stick, we could be really cooking a bullish engulfing on the hourly. This could be starting to look like a flag here off of support. So I think it's really important to kind of keep in mind where you are in these larger formations. It'll help you kind of not get lost in the weeds here. Like this GME, for example, like this red candle would be scary. Pardon me, if you're only looking at 1 minute six, but what did it really do? It just kind of came back tested this push off here, and then we're just flagging. We're not rejecting. We're waiting for these moving averages to catch up. As I say this now, we're starting to, you know, a little sussy, but you know, what are we doing? We're barcoding, right? So I think it's important to not get lost in the weeds here.
Yeah, the SPY broke the low. That's what happened there, guys. So SPY breaking the low, VIX finally getting the jump there. So you're seeing the VIX continue to move up too. So I think that you got to just continue to watch out for the bigger move, right? So one thing to watch for now is more specifically on a day like today, I'd actually even shift a little bit further into hourly outlooks. Watch how those hourly outlooks look a little different than the intraday charts. This is on a day like today where the big institutional plays can play you both ways on the hourly and then make the bigger move, right? So keep your eyes on that, on those hourlies is what I would look at.
Yeah, and man, you know, in the same way, you don't get caught in the weeds, but at the same time, you got to wait for those candles to close, right? So that 15-minute piece that I have, that might not be playing out here. We might need more time. It might just be completely wrong. But, you know, on the Qs, that last 2-minute flip, that's something that I am watching because we are basically under these moving averages, these trend following, you know, shorter gain stuff. So there's definitely room below, you know, and Mitch, I'm just a bull at heart, you know, I always want to see it turn around. So
I like it. I like it. We always need a bull.
We got to set up those contingencies, right?
Sometimes I got to get out of my bear cave, you know, so
all on both sides, right?
Yeah, man, that's trading, man. Tesla now going a little bit red here. That's an interesting one to keep an eye out for to see if it really does go red, right? I mean, just keeping an eye on it because the chart is pretty heavy there. VIX still trying to make the move, but it's kind of choppy there too. The Qs is what I'm watching because the Qs aren't making the breakdown. The SPY did, but the SPY is a little weaker because you're seeing majority of the sectors in the red today. And then when tech goes red and then majority is red, yeah, the SPY is probably going to follow along. And what could hold the market up? It would need like a lot of healthcare or energy in the green to be holding up. And you got energy down big. So usually you don't see that action either. When the markets go down, also you see energy start to move back up. Right. So that'd be the kind of like your XLE getting into the green today. And that's just kind of correlation, right? Outlook, right? So we'll see what happens there. Mitch, your risk reward play is busting its way out. Oh, my RR play. Oh, Rich Tech, the robotics. Ah, my man, Wisdom.
It's a great name for a company.
Man.
Rich Tech, yeah, sign me up.
Rich Tech's Robotics.
I'll take some of
Yeah,
that.
this looks like a nice little cup and handle on the daily. This looks like a nice what I would say a swing type of trades type of stock, right? Where you just broke one. It's hard to day trade it off 119. I mean, unless you want to hold 20 cents on your day trade, right? But the way that I'd look at this is that, hey, dude, if you never come back to one, I might want to be a part of that swing, right? And so that's just the way that I would look at that RR chart. Especially since you're starting to get the momentum on the MACD again, right? So the MACD came back down, it crossed, and now you're starting to really get some momentum with some good volume back through one. And why you're seeing this? Well, it's just momentum, right? Building in the quantum names, building in the robotics names. You've been seeing it go everywhere. Saidu, what's that one doing now? That one eventually came down, did a downhole, I think, came back down all the way to 564s, and then now starting to bounce a little bit. I mean, those are all over the place out there. Be careful out there, traders. Q's, what do you want to do, man?
Just poking around down here.
Yeah, GME pulling back a little bit there.
Yeah. Looks like it wants to dip back into the discount range under 30.
Palantir going red. Uh-oh.
That's legal? I didn't know they could do that. What?
Uh-oh. 15 minutes broke on that one. 72s gave up there. Now starting to lose altitude. That's a good sign, though, for growth stocks to come back down. That tells you be careful out there. Like swing trade on Palantir right now. Ooh, this is when I open it up. I'm like 72 on 76. I can risk there towards that 74. That looks interesting there on Palantir.
Yeah, it's cutting pretty deep into support here. I mean, it's so...
VIX just jumped a little bit. Just jumped a little bit. So there's now 44.37s now. Q's breaking the lows there. Going to 434.40s now. Starting to lose a little altitude there. Apple pulling back there. Now the momentum names might give another little pullback there. So just be careful out there.
Look
QUBT,
at this,
back
look
down.
at this. I mean, let's see how this candle forms. Okay, maybe we do push down, but that was decent aggression on the... there were still buyers here. Maybe we're just instantly flushing them out. Down, up, down. VIX is
Dogs are barking. The dogs are barking.
They're out. Interesting.
MSS taking a little bit of a lift off. Grocery store lift off. MSS getting a little bit of a push on aisle 3.
Whoa. That's nice. It must be news or something.
Disney, come market. You can break down. I'll short you, Disney. Disney was one that I'm like, I've been calling it like perfectly from this 114, but I just can't trade it on the intraday. It's definitely one of those that I can do it on the swing. I suck at it on the day trade.
Yeah.
It's one of those where like I could see this gap filling, right? Like I could just...
Yeah, you want it so bad. It's fighting it though. That 111, 112-ish area is kind of congesting it up on the tape, it looks like.
Q's bouncing a little bit there. We're still playing around a little bit with these lows, guys. So just be careful out there. Google back at 250. You guys know it. You guys have heard it, right? Google wants 200, baby. That's on the intro. Google got 200, guys.
It's a party. Let's go. Google
It's
has so
a
much
party.
room, too.
It's a party. It's a party.
Compared to a lot of the other megas on like
dude, when it was like November 5th, like off of the elections, I was like, dude, Google, forget the DOJ concerns.
Right.
And I would have been, it gave you a nice opportunity when it came back in the 170s, 175. And that was right off of this inverse head and shoulders that we looked at, right? So it broke off of that inverse head and shoulders, came up, built some momentum, came down, gave you a nice opportunity. And that's where the volume really started to step in there. That tells me right here what's happening on that day. Institutional buying, guys. Institutional buying on that day. Not institutional selling on that day. Institutional buying on that day. That's why the stock does this afterwards.
there will always be buyers at statistical, like, standard deviation moves down. When it comes down and hits that Bollinger Band, there's going to be somebody who says, I'm willing to bet that Google does okay.
Yeah, and a lot of that,
sure,
a lot of that is also just the mentality that we're stuck in our daily mentality versus they're stuck in their weekly or monthly mentality.
Or yearly. Some of these guys, Mitch, they
Right.
got deep pockets. They can
And
hang out.
that's what happens, right? So we're like, oh no, today is horrible. And then they're like, come down to me, papi.
Right.
I want you.
I can go lower.
Yeah.
It's always sunny meme. Yeah, they can always go bring it lower if they know where the buyers are. If the buyers are lower, that's what price will head. Markets have an amazing way of doing that, don't they? It's almost like part of the design. But yeah, it's always impressive to me to see those big orders super low. And you're like, who's that patient? They're that patient. They will wait. And if there's no buyers up here, if they run out, then they will get their price more often than not. And how criminal is that too? When a stock's trading like a mile over the 200-day, and you're all sitting there waiting for it. One day it gaps down on crazy news, taps it for 5 minutes, and then never looks back. Like, that's the kind of stuff that's like
Tesla losing altitude here, guys. Tesla losing altitude.
spooky.
SPY's losing altitude.
Got that trappy falling wedge look on cues where it's like, how much can it slide? Long enough to stop me out, that's for sure. But
yeah.
I don't know, these falling consolidation patterns, it always feels to me, at least while I'm in them, that they're just shaking that tree. It's like, how much pain?
Yeah, they're shaking it. They're shaking it today for sure.
Look at that. There are buyers down here, but they're just not ready to send it. That's my tinfoil thesis, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, we got to see if we get the reversal today, but it's interesting action right now. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
How's that Micron doing now? Starting to get a little bit on the pullback. Of course, AVGO deep into the green or deep into the red. Sorry about saying that, but deep into the red. Where could that one cool back to? Maybe 230s in the long run. But SPY starting to kind of prop up a little bit here. Big level is 603 underneath it. That's like a daily level that we're looking at. 603s give up. Yeah, we're probably going a little bit further. But looking to see if we can start turning around a little bit on the SPY. SPY was the one that first broke down, so could be the one that first rides back. So looking at that action, just to take a look at the recent hour in action there, and there's barely things in the green. Healthcare is barely green, defensive, communication, and that just goes to show you there's a lot of downside in the recent hour. Technology is like in the middle pack now. So just keeping an eye on that. But the only reason it's in the middle of the pack is because of Apple and because of Google. So if those go red or Microsoft goes red, it ain't going to be looking pretty. And look at Google. It's right there now. Going red.
And in general, it's a little spooky to see healthcare, consumer defensives, communications even are relatively defensive in some, aspects, So that's there's some risk off floating around in here that we should be cognizant of, especially with that VIX pop that we're mentioning. I want it to be that fake peekaboo and just right back on the bull markets. But, I am weighing the options here. I think that timing is another thing that we want to look at around this time, where I usually like to see some giddy up in the charts by right about now, if we're weathering a pullback in the morning for a push in the afternoon. The later that happens, the more sus I am. I like to see a strong response at levels. I don't like to see it drop into a level and muddling around all day. That's a little bit sketchy.
Robotic stocks hot here. When you called out RR, so I'll give you another one. Serve robotics, SERV. This one's hot today. Not doing too bad there. Just recovered the 1550s. Let's see if it breaks 16 and starts to really drive as one of those small cap stocks that's doing well today. We'll see if that can continue. Big bounce off of that when it got to 16. It went back to 15, caught some buyers there. So we'll see if it goes through it. NUKK, another stock making a little lift. This one just went out of a hole at 380s, pulled back significantly, now starting to get hot again. NUKK PRTG, another one that's starting to get a little bit of a move there, but that one's been in and out of halts, so just be careful on that one. That's Portage Biotech, but look at the hourly on this. This is a nice flagging hourly pattern that I'd keep an eye out to see when this hourly turns green. And if it's in this hour, it's going to be at an 8:15 pricing. So keep your eyes if once it recovers 8:15, does it get hot there? I just watch that. A lot of times with these penny stocks, some traders never even look at the deeper time frame charts, and that just looks like a bull flag to me, right? So we'll see what happens there.
Yo, Mitch, I'm curious on your read on Pfizer here. Had a really strong response to
well, it's in
the guidance this morning.
Yeah, and it's also in the right area right now, an area that's in the green, right? So I'd keep an eye out on that, right? You got NVO is one of those stocks that are doing well. Johnson & Johnson kind of leading the up action. AbbVie up 3%.
That's Chad
so
right
there you seeing it, right? And so where's it coming from? It's coming from some of the bigger boys lifting off, right, and holding it up.
It's Pfizer's guidance here that's kind of setting off the sector here and giving the market a bright spot to pour cash into. What I'm seeing on the daily, though, I'm going to pull my chart real quick if that's cool with you.
Yeah, go for it, man. Just click you on here. I don't know if you got access, but there you go, my friend.
Thank you. So on the daily here, I'm seeing this really interesting level. We have these two big wicks up here, and it's retesting here on the let's go to the 15-minute. We'll see that we're double testing today. This is kind of looking like it wants to pop it, but I'm really watching this level. If it pops above and rejects it, it could be a valid short. I'm kind of leaning towards a breakout here to this 2750 level, though. So this is one to keep an eye on here. It is kind of the leader in a lot of regards. I'm seeing a ascending wedge kind of developing here, but it also makes me think that it could relatively easily need to retrace back and fill this in before kind of ping-ponging its way up and out, just because it's such a slow mover. But if it is kind of ready, this is quite a big base here. You could consider this a flag and a break here. So we could be seeing what would a measured move be there. Something up to, I think, this 27, 28 area. And I don't know. I'm just looking for bright spots here because there's not a ton of things that I'm super psyched about here until the market as a whole turns up.
I'm watching the action. I think there's a lot of chop around this 534 50s for the Qs. So it's given the attempt to come back here. Now the only question is, will we get the actual breakdown that it could happen, right? I think you're looking at a potential 15-minute resistance opportunity. So stocks going back to like 15-minute resistance and seeing if they reject there. So you're seeing that in Apple. I'm looking to see if Tesla can go back to the 15-minute. Qs could do that. That's 537, right? But we're right off the lows here, so we'll look to see if we bounce because it's been pretty weak. I mean,
yes,
overall.
It looks like it's getting ready to flush here if it doesn't make a decision quick. It's curling on down, losing most moving averages. Shall see. Got the good luck cat. Oh, she's not there.
Looking around, QUBT at 13.14s. I pulled back to the 13. Now trying to recover some. Still keep these on the radar. Let's see if Google can get back into green today. Back above the 200. Big watch.
Yeah, it's testing that 200-minute moving average there. It looks like it kind of wants to lose it. Maybe dip down to the 195, 196 area. Don't love the blow off look there. A little spooky.
Meta red. Amazon still red.
Yeah, Apple's holding up better than most.
Microsoft trying to come back to that 15-minute resistance.
Netflix with a decent push off the lows there. Kind of got the sweep out of the way a little early, looks like. It's green, man. Not much is green on my list. I mean, I had to resort to the master list. Air is very strong.
Interesting to see some action coming into some China names. I'm just seeing the tape looking a little interesting, but nothing that I'm really seeing. But I can tell that there's some interest in China today. So like a lot of times when our market's bad, they're looking around to see what I can maybe pick up on the cheap around. FXI's come down a massive amount since that recent spike. So
Yeah,
it
man,
kind of
this
makes
is
sense. Kind of
not
makes sense.
fun to trade. I have a core position in it.
Tesla
It's
pretty weak
not.
there, guys. I'm seeing some weakness now. Qs are breaking that low and now trying to attempt to break down here. Let's see what happens. I think right now you got to watch to see if the 15-minute chart can turn back to green, but GME back above the 31, my friend. This looks good. This looks good.
Peak. Oh wow, look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, so we are getting that pennant forming here. And it looks like it wants to go for a breakdown.
Yeah.
Are you a subscriber / have you heard of the GME versus the market theory?
And I mean, I think that's going to ebbs and flow there. I do like this pullback that we got here off of the 3080s there. So look to see if you can get an attempt down back to 3090s here and then recover 31s. That's what I'm going to look for.
See what I see here? That looked like a bid stick forming. Only 10 seconds into the candle, we're already pushing up against the edge here. We have a lot of time. Yeah, we have a lot of time.
Market coming back too with it. It looks good.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's the on the cues. That's what I'm watching here. When I see an instant like rocket up to the high of the previous candle's range, like within 5-10 seconds, that if it can push pretty early, oftentimes will be kind of like a power flip stick. I don't know what to call it. I need a catchy like some kind of catchy name, but I love to see that. So we have 17 seconds left. It's showing no sign of slowing down. That's what I like to see. Looking for a strong close on this 1 minute, a back test of the level that's currently testing on the next minute stick. And we can really push and start trying to test this wedge that we're kind of pushing out of. GME, beautiful extension there. Wants highs of the day. As long as we can clear that, we are on for 32.11-ish. And the bigger push for 33.70.
Yeah, I'd like that 31 test right here.
Yeah, look perfect. This is beautiful.
Even like 3109s, 3105s, just slightly above the 31s now, and then just the volume to really take off there. But GME is already looking good here for the high of the day. Here's the approach for the high of the day. There it goes. There's the high of the day tapped 3144. Now the high of the day.
Now
So,
I would
hey.
be looking. Okay, there's some sellers coming in. That's okay. Let's see it negotiate. There we go. Love to see it.
Boom, boom, baby. I won't touch it for you, my friend.
Thank you, brother. And you can see that beautiful profile on the intraday volume here too. The big spike.
Take that money, baby. Take that money.
No, pushing higher. Let's send it.
QUBT taking off, guys. So now their quantum plays are coming right back into play here, guys. So you might see some strength come into those plays here. I'm watching CMCO or Rigetti, those types of names to see if the volume comes back in. But I did see a big spike in QUBT, guys. So QUBT coming up on the scanners. Start taking a look to see what shows up on those scanners. I think it's something to look at now. Rigetti starting to get a little bit of some buying there at the 918s. But I need to see it spike to like 950 if it wants 10 today and continuing going. But QBTS is another one to kind of take an eye out for. We'll see if they actually get the spike. QUBT tried for sure. Got up there to 15.
Qs are back testing the 50% of that push stick. If we can't hold right about here over the base previously, then it's probably a nothing burger. It needs to keep developing. I would even say that it's in general not a bullish thing to get a push up on a minute stick like that if you can't hold it within the next couple. So this is kind of like the line in the sand I would sort of be looking to hold. And GME looking a little bit like a yeehaw over our level. People getting out there. Let's see if it can hold. Hopefully it flags here. Just like to see some stabilization. The buyers are trying, but they need traction.
Side you now getting a little bit of a lift, but that still looks like a rejection to me on VWAP opportunity. We'll see what happens on that. GXAI showing a little bit of a spike there. I know those AI names have been hot.
Gaxos, that's a fun name.
Sound recovering the VWAP. I don't know, man. This is a tough day, man. Tough day. The only thing that I like is that I've been holding my cash at least. I'm only down 164, and just kind of like holding on, right? I could have taken tons of trades by now, right? I mean, is this one of those days where, yeah, I'm reading the overall market right, but the intraday action moves are still being a little choppy. I'm sure
Yeah.
we're all seeing that, right? We're all seeing it. And if you go green, you go slightly green, and then it's right back into slightly red, right? So there's one of those days where I feel like what we need to do on these days is just learn to be a little patient. And that's very tough as a trader. Why? Because there's two options: leave or be patient.
Right.
And so I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I know I'm staying here at least to 11. So, hey, I'm going to be patient instead, right? Because it's the truth, right? Is that when you get into this whole little buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling, one bad mistake, you ruin that day, right? So I'm just right now, and I think you got a nice position in GME where at least you're riding the trend on a bigger time frame where you can not get so antsy in between the move.
Right. It's definitely helping because for GME here, yeah, this is a good example of a swing where I was just, I mean, I'm in from down here initially, and then I've just been chilling. And then when it came down here a few times, I just nibbled a little bit on one of these, I think one of these days around 27. And so that just gave me another little buffer. I took a little bit off at 30 on the whatever it was at the earnings. So yeah, honestly, I'm just hanging out, and that's it's letting me not over commit in other positions, which I'm a lot less confident in. And I'm just kind of hanging out, honestly. You know, and I think that there's worse things to do on days where nothing is a screaming fat pitch at you, you know. And a lot of being a trader is taking base hits and then just waiting for the fat pitch. And then when you get that meaty fastball right down the plate, you know, you're ready. And that's what
it's about. That's what it's about, man. Like I'm getting antsy here. I could feel it. I want to go in short Tesla. I'm like, yeah, I see the down coming in the cues, but I also see that GME setup that I talked about, and here it is. So the pullback coming into play here, and it could come all the way into like this 30 50s. So you're definitely seeing a little bit of a blow off right there on the 30 50s, right? And so the 15-minute is starting to show that kind of complete pattern there, right? So at this point, 90 MA, I'd like to see a hold. If it's going to hold and come right back through that 31. So we'll see if it happens here. I think a big part of this is just the cues right on the low breakdown look, right? So we need to see this kind of turn. Marvell down big today, man, down 6%. So these other ones could start breaking down. AVGO is down big too. So if you see AVGO and Marvell continue, I'd probably see Micron also get hit there a little bit back down. And it makes sense. I mean, these were super strong yesterday. Sometimes it's just mean reversion coming into play.
You and me, I'm telling you, there's something cooking. There's buyers. Like
I like that cut down. I like that.
Yeah, you see that little flush of do that. I look at that as a back test of this pennant break, and then a big wick up right at kind of that 30.94, 30, 31 area that I want to see kind of act as the new equilibrium here. And all the while, like cues aren't dying. I don't know. It's making me antsy. Just do the thing. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's
yeah,
go.
man. I'm with you on the GME. I like it. I like it. I'm telling you, I'm trying to stay off of it so it goes green for you, my friend.
I appreciate it, but don't stress. You know, it's going to do what it's going to do. It's going to move when it's going to move. I trust in Ryan Cohen's leadership. I actually have no idea what he does right now, but I like the stuff. I like
Ryan Cohen.
Is he still around? I don't know what's going on.
QUBG at the high of the day, man. That's looking interesting, man. This is an interesting day. I'll tell you that much. There's a lot of opportunities on a day like today. And I think sometimes it's hard, right? It's hard to pick between those opportunities. And that's what I think you're seeing a lot right now. So it's like pick your poison, right? Kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Which one do you want to take, guys? Are you taking the blue or the red pill today, guys? All right.
Hemlock, Mitch. I missed my entry. It's all over.
Q's starting to come back there. Q's starting to come back here.
Yeah, it's cooking. I like that the end pattern, the big stick, the drift back, another big stick.
Oh, I'm liking GME. Look, the handle is on the place order. I'm gonna get off of it. It's yours. It's yours, my friend. It's yours.
By all means, brother. By all means. Hey, what you see?
QBTS. Interesting. Now coming back there, 816s, 850s. We'll look to see if that starts to make the lift there.
Yeah, a name to keep an eye on for a
what you watching?
Is Peloton. Peloton's showing a lot of strength.
Dude, a lot of strength into that. That's a Christmas stock, man. That's a Santa Claus stock, dude.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's a Santa Claus rally type of stock, guys. That's an XRT type of name, a retail type of name, right? Lulu recovering today.
That's pretty
Ooh, that's more for me, dude. That's more for me with the Qs coming back. So I like
you want
that.
Those yoga pants for Christmas, Mitch.
That's what it was, dude. That's what it was, man. No, I'm not. Lulu's too expensive. I'm on the cheap one, the Fabletics, right?
Okay. There's a market for everybody, brother.
There's a market for everybody. I agree.
We got the push on P-Ton here. I think this one's looking really nice through 1050. We got room up to 11 today, honestly, if this thing wants to cook it. So this is one to definitely consider. If I was
looking prime out there.
Honestly, I like P-Ton here. I'm gonna mentally take this for the boys, just in case anybody really takes it, and I won't mess it up for you. But I like this trade. Man.
Let's
call it a fake entry from 1050 here on the expansion through this range.
I don't think I've traded Ulta and actually made money on it because it's a little bit hard, dude. It's like the spread on this thing's 130.
It's brutal, dude. I don't touch it. I like stock. I mean, actually, I haven't looked at it. I like the idea of trading the stock. Same with Lulu, but
it just looks prime right now.
Yeah, it's punishing if you're wrong, but
that's the thing. That's the thing. You got to be able to ladder. It's a type of stock where you got a ladder.
When you catch those wide spreads, those on your dip down orders, those feel good. You're instantly up a nice 0.5% or so.
Trying to be patient here, guys. 1041. We'll see what happens here. The Qs are starting to come back, and so that's the momentum move already starting to come into play. You're starting to establish potentially a bullish engulfing on the 15 minutes. So that's what I'm kind of keeping an eye on to see if we can maybe test back towards 535 here on just a pullback on like the 5 minute. And so that's what I'll be looking for. Undercut the 535 and then start the ramp. That's what I'm looking. If not, it could just keep going to 536, right? But I'll be looking for a slight test of that pullback through 535 and then the real recovery coming in.
Yeah, Mitch, on the 30-minute, there's a pretty clear pivot there at 535.63. I think that's a great area to test like we're talking about. Kind of test the waters there.
Interesting.
But we did get the engulfer on the 15. That's nice. Now we're testing the hourly trigger as resistance. So it looks like it's getting cooked.
QBTS coming back above the 8s now. We just got QBT that went through the high. So I think it's really interesting on those quantum plays if you're playing them. RCAT going into the green now, starting to get the lift. I talked to you guys about this one. This was the drone UFOs, baby.
X-Files.
I can't do the X-Files sound, man. I used to have it on the button. I used to have the button, man. I need to get, I'm telling you, this year I'm going to step it back up, guys. Got to get my sound button game back on. I have so much of the graphics down, but I'm going to go back to the sound button life and we're going to have some fun because I would be playing the X-Files all day long today.
It's a wild world out there, you know? There's a lot of mystery.
Or if you're really a kid around my age, I'd play the Goosebumps for you.
Oh, straight into my veins, the nostalgia. Oh yeah,
man. Oh yeah, you know it, man. Yes. OPTX moving in the chat that was mentioned. That one, I tell you guys, is this was my first trade that I ever made in penny stocks. I made $190 on this stock. I can tell you guys that. I was trading back in the days on a broker called Shore Trader. Do you ever heard of that thing?
That's a relic beyond my age. Mitch.
Yeah, I'm part of those relics, man. That's telling my age there a little bit, but
that's like saying you listen to Napster. I don't know, man.
Oh man, that was the Bahamas traders, guys. If you guys didn't know that one there, I used to say, "I'm going to the Bahamas, boys."
So Mitch, how long
pick up my money, man? Because if they don't give it to me, I'm going over there.
That sounds like a 10-year-old name. Is that a 10-year-old name? Be honest.
Yeah, dude,
You're an
it's
OG?
back there. It's
Okay,
back
I
there.
understand.
But now I look at OPTX and every time it pops, man, it just brings up like just kind of jokes for me, man.
Yeah,
It's a funny stock.
love to see it.
QUBT, man, that thing's ripping. That thing's in a hole. Let's see. No, it's just pulled back to the 16. Let's see if QBTS can get going there. Q's still fighting, guys. Still fighting. Here's that pullback that I talked to you guys about. So the undercut of the 535. Now let's see if the ramp up happens, right? There's a reason why I think that you see bigger volume there on that pullback. So I think they're looking at it just like I'm looking at it now to see if the buyers really step in. And it also is all from an hourly level too, as we start to recover.
And yeah, as you say, the hourly, it's so cool to see the confluence, because on my indicator suite, it's referred to as the hourly trigger, just in terms of on that hourly chart, that's where the buyer should be, right? And so that's exactly what we're seeing testing right here. I'm totally with you on that push down, just being kind of show me it's real, you know? If it's real, it'll pop right back just like this. And look at that.
Ooh, GME, GME.
It's teasing.
It is. It's a tease right now. That's for sure. I think one of the things that it could be a nice sign is looking at like another meme stock to see if you get the pump, right? So AMC, of course, would be that type of stock to give you a little bit of some insight to take a look into it.
I usually like playing, if I miss the move on GME, then I'll start looking at AMC. I don't see it leading very much unless it is AMC specific news, but let's be real, how much of that really is there floating around these days? So it's such a great proxy to catch the late move, I found, because let's be real, apes are not the most responsive of traders at times. You know, sometimes there's a little latency there. And I love my apes, but let's be honest, you know. So there's often a good little mini arbitrage play there at times. Something to keep in mind. I think GME's leading, and GME's the blue chip meme. Let's be real. You know, if you're gonna put your money in some memes.
All right, guys, I'm going a little bit against the play here, guys. I'm going against Quantum, but on QBTS. There's a reason why. So QUBT is at the top end of the range. This would have the momentum there to get the pop. It couldn't get the pop. So I'm looking here to see if it can kind of respect the 8 move here and not get a huge pop off of that, right? That's the level that it can pop. Really, 830s is really the real squeeze that comes into play here. So I'm just watching it here. Of course, if the Qs continue higher, this could get right back up there. But the big thing with QBTS is just, can this keep going today? I mean, this is up massively over time. And some of these smaller ones are going to be better than others. Let's just be honest, right? Like IonQ, there's a reason why it's gone so far. QUBT also has gone so far. QBTS has just recently come into play. So,
Mitch, you want to know why IONQ is so strong?
Why?
I didn't buy it at $10. I just said, no, I'm good. Now it is at 40 something. So you're welcome. Man, it's all me.
You know, I have a bone to pick with that stock because it's a Niccolo De Masi stock. And Niccolo De Masi knows me very well. And I've been trying to call him to get back onto shows for about 2 to 3 years. I think IonQ might be the one that will bring him back. But man, that man's hiding from me, and he cost me some good money.
Oh, man. I don't know who you're referring to, but that name sounds like a legend. I don't know. That's a name that I would follow into the penny stock.
He made a couple of those SPACs back in the day. So he's the one behind IonQ. He's behind Genie. And Genie's my bag. So hey.
Story time, really quick. You're playing all the hits. GENI, that one. Oh, dude.
GENI, man.
That was my first Wall Street Bets post. My first Wall Street Bets DD. Turned $500 into 4K. That was one of the all timers. That was a fun one back in the day.
Yeah, man.
What a move!
Yeah, it's like that too.
Sports betting. When is that coming back?
I'm telling you, I still hold the bag on that.
I
always talk about it. One day this might come back and give me a cruise, but one day it might not.
Dude, DKNG, just speaking of it, it's coming back to an interesting place right off that 39.40 handle there. There's buyers. It's something to keep an eye on there.
All right, we'll see what happens on this short, but just shorting something that I think is just overextended, right? Am I betting against quantum for the long run? No, but I think that at this point, it's either going to give me a bigger breakdown than I think a breakout. So that's the reason why I'm leaning more short, right? Is that because of the action that's more on the hourly, extended. Now, there is one level here that's the recovery, right? But you've been rejecting that area. So like, let's say above like 820s here is where the sign of concern comes into play. But if you can go to 7, I think you can go to like 6 or 5. So that's my idea there, is that I can see upside as being 9. I can see downside as being 7 or 6, more like it. So I think $2 on the downside is more the approach. Just got to keep it smart, keep it tight here. Qs are coming back though. With the Qs coming back is the GME move, right? And so look how it's rejecting that 31, but you want the Qs to kind of hold that 535. We just made another attempt there that is starting to recover there. I think they're starting to hold that really well there on that 535. So he pulled back. You went to 535 here, 534. Now you're making higher lows. Do you break that trend here? Getting a little squeeze here on QBTS. Let's see if it squeezes past this 820. 830s will get me out. That's about $70. Also seeing Tesla as an opportunity if the Qs do break down. Little squeeze and I'm out there on QBTS there. It got to the 830 spot. I'm respecting myself and trying to stay within one trade into the green. And that's all I'm trying to do right now. So Tesla is one thing that I'm looking at here. The Q's trying to recover the VWAP here. Let's see if they can recover it. Apple's one to watch on upside action. You can see how it held the VWAP pullback and now right back up there on the 252. So that's looking good. Microsoft was near the resistance earlier, now trying to take the resistance on the 15-minute. And now let's see if Google can come back through the 200. You're seeing Google start to come back now. Amazon near the VWAP, so that's a good outlook there. Let's see if Meta can get to the VWAP, and you're starting to see the recovery come in. So just be careful out there, but definitely seeing some recovery. Teva's an interesting chart also, but just looking around out there.
That doesn't look done to me. That's crazy.
RGTI now getting a spike there. We'll see if these quantum names can really make another step up. RGTI is one of those that just recovered 9. It was a similar setup that I was looking at on QBTS, now starting to recover there.
Got some nice volume coming in on GME. Every time it's under 31, people are buying. So I think that it's just taking a sweet time. And I know you're going to call me crazy, but I'm seeing every big red stick on Q, every big green stick on GME just syncing up. Oh, yeah. It's all coming together. I'm telling you. Something to this.
There's it's definitely a little bit shaky today, I feel like. I'm going to be interested on what happens towards the end of the day, guys. But it's 10:52. We're going to start wrapping up in just a little bit here. I do want to let you guys know I'm down 250. Not too bad. Not going to stress it. Why? Because overall, was up on Monday over 600, close to 700, right? So I'm just keeping that in perspective, right? And I think that that's important for traders all the time. Like sometimes don't think about what you're doing for this day. Think about how your week is going, and let's have the good weeks that turn into good months, right? Instead of I need to have a good day to turn into a good week to turn into a good month. You're just starting to ask too much, man.
Nobody's perfect, right?
That's like
a trajectory here.
That's like when athletes tell you that they don't look into the statistics into each game. You can't be like, oh, I needed to get 2 more points today. No, that's how you start becoming into bad habits, right? And so what you need to be thinking is a collection of your trades, right? And the Mark Douglas talks about this all the time. He says just a minimum of a process should be about 50 trades. 50, right? So if you're stressing about 2, I mean, dude, you're never going to get to the 50. So you don't even know what a system really is like. So that's why I always talk about the one share trading. And one share trading is just trade real money, real cash, and trade one share. See if you can start making money with just trading. So that just means trading to win and lose, essentially. And that's okay because that's just starting to learn the process. And if you can just win consistently, don't stress about it. Just look at the percentage change and just focus on that for a while. Once you start to see that you can really do this and take even downturns and bring them back to upswings, that's when you know yourself are moving to that next level, right?
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off this, because I want to drive it home because it's so important. Mark Douglas, the GOAT. Go on YouTube. It's a free audiobook, Trading in the Zone. Put it on while you're at the grocery store. Put it on while you're watching the charts in the morning. Put it on when you don't need to be super dialed in, but trust me, make this your Bible and it will pay dividends. Everything is so focused on mindset, and I haven't found anybody better at cultivating the appropriate mindset. Mark Douglas, go. If anything I say sticks with you, go read that book. Seriously, nothing's changed my trading mindset.
Yep. And I'll tell you that right now, man. That's the number one. And there's some really good videos on YouTube to watch also. So just search his name, watch those videos. If you don't want to buy the book, you're not a book guy and you just want to see someone talking to you, watch those. I've broken down his book plenty of times, guys. I used to have a book club and you should really enjoy that. That's the number one book that I think any trader should read at first.
And shout out to Tim as well. He recommends Randy Howell on YouTube, I believe. Randee Howell. Yeah, he's another good one for video content. Really good stuff on mindset. It really is the whole game. Like, I mean, it's not that hard to learn TA. I mean, I'll say that there are nuances, but the biggest part is getting your head straight. So that's a great place to invest time in.
QMCO getting the lift here now, and that's a quantum name, but just keep an eye out on that one because it's a really fast mover. We'll see what happens on that one. Rich Tech, my man, Wisdom coming in with the call today. That's continued going on the upside. Serve is one that trades similar to that one. I'll just mention that just because I know that you guys like to keep up with those types of names. And this is what I would say about Serve's chart. I mean, look at that. Like I talk about small caps that stay in the trends. These are names that are staying in the trend. NNE down big today. That's something just to note. Here's a little bit of a pullback. I'm still seeing the Qs still kind of just playing around there, though. That's the only problem is that the Qs can't really get the rip back. And that's how it is sometimes, guys. You just got to wait. And this hourly candle is still essentially red. And I'm looking to see if it can cross the open of that candle, which is 535.69. We got up there and we rejected it. So let's see what happens if we can get back to that spot.
So I'm not too doom and gloom on that just because I think it's the first retest of a pretty decent sized pivot there. I do really like that we're holding above the 535.25. That's our hourly trigger, and you've got rising 1 minute triggers kind of sandwiching us between that the ceiling of the 5 minute trigger we've been kind of bouncing off of. So I think that we're just kind of cooking down here a little bit. I'd be fine seeing a pullback down to 535 again, but I really wouldn't want to see it much lower.
I think the buy on GME was that 31 undercut after the first break above the highs. I was looking for that pullback towards that level. I've had this chart drawn literally in front of me for a long time now. And even when it was starting to come to this 31.10, I was like, I want to get in it, but I was like, let's make the cash, man. This is looking good. This is looking good, guys. I would keep an eye out on this on the day too, because like I mentioned, yesterday was a big day for it because I was looking for a breakdown and it did a reversal. When I look for that, I don't fight it. I don't say, oh no, now I need to go short GME today. No, it tells me more that, hey, what you saw was buyers come in and shake those shorts. Right. So now they're shaking those shorts and they got them shaked, man. They seen this action where the daily candle looks like what? You're closing towards the high of the day. Yeah, that's when the bears just starts getting scared, and now you can get that short squeeze. Now you can get that squeeze. Look at that! Look at that new high right there, right? I mean, that's a new high. Boom, 31.65, looking great in that GME now. Now you just need the Qs to come back. And I would look at the XRT. I know it sounds weird, but the XRT is an important look for GME. Why? Because I don't know who makes these ETFs, guys, but for some reason GME is one of the biggest percentage holdings in the XRT. I think it's like 9%.
Seems good. Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense for me. But hey, I mean, I don't make the ETFs. That's why I look at a lot of equally weighted ETFs, because I feel like ETFs all the time, what they're doing, they're just telling you high concentration plays and where you should be maybe looking at for those high concentrated names. And that's just a part of the game, the way the game's played. That's why I tell you that it's always weird to see the Qs down and then to see Microsoft up, Google up, to see Apple up on the day, right? And what happened here? Well, the tide can lift all boats, right? And the tide sometimes comes with the overall market, and sometimes it's just mega cap tech. Mega cap tech. And as long as those names don't like completely tumble, and then take a look at NVIDIA, good name on that, right? Tumbling action, now coming back, that just come back. NVIDIA doesn't need to go green today. It just can't be down here.
Yeah.
Right? It can't be at 126 in a little bit if we want to see this continue to rise up. So that's what I'd be keeping an eye on. We're looking pretty good as we start to recover. You see the SPY start to come back. And then this is when I start to look at what I talk about the hourly, because I want to just see what's going green. Cyclicals are going green here. So that's something that you want to see, right? That's good action there. That's lodging taking a little lift today. And what would that be? That'd be good retail names. Apparel stores doing well today, right? So A&F green again, day two move for A&F, right? Lulu, I talked about that. I like that setup here today. Let's see if this can start to get going. I'm going to take a look to see if Ulta can get going. Names like that, can they start to make the push? XRT, what's on the top end of that could be another way to look at it. Oh, GME?
Oh, how about that? We got our head in the right place, man.
And this is always the surprising one that I need to start playing for the holidays, which is the Groupon. The Groupon play, bro. The Groupon play for the holidays has been a monster since Black Friday. This stock has been ripping. And it's just because people are bored and they don't know what the hell to do. So they're just looking for activities. So they end up on Groupon during the holidays. And next thing you know, they're buying a Groupon once and they don't go back to the app until next year. But hey, it's all good. It's all good in that. And they give you really great discounts too. That's the thing too. And I actually feel bad for the businesses on Groupon. They're really desperate businesses that go on Groupon. It's a tough model, but
so maybe you can find some shorts in there. I don't know.
yeah, that's for sure. Here's a good ad here too. I was gonna mention it. Tim, of course, does a book club for the Discord guys. So another book club today after the close. Another chapter of Market Wizards. Of course, I have Market Wizards. I know it's right back there. But guys, you got to have these books, right? And you got to go through them. Also, I would also suggest for you traders that just like, maybe you're not the average reader, or maybe you're just more of an audio listener. Audible is a great way, guys, to go ahead and just take these books in, because a lot of these books, to tell you the truth, you don't need to memorize these books. You need to understand the psychology behind these books. That's what these books are going to give you an edge on, is understanding the psychologies of the market, because that's something that is something that where you really can gain some edge, right? I always look at these like even like my CMT books, guys. I can tell you they've given me tons of definition understanding, but there's a whole nother thing about having psychological edge, right? Like definitions are what I can look into ChatGPT for, right? But I can't tell ChatGPT, go trade for me, right? There's a reason why. It doesn't understand the psychology of the market, right? And I think that's what we're looking at. I'll tell you one thing, quantum computing just might figure it out. So that's why you're seeing so much investment into quantum computing. But go check out the book club, guys, and check out our Discord if you guys want something more. I know that you guys are like me, always probably looking for something more to do, to learn about the markets. Tim works very hard, guys. So hard, I'm telling you, that man falls asleep on the desk if he has to. That guy puts in the hours. So definitely check out Tim on the Discord and ask him any questions, guys. You guys are learning or looking to learn, right? The Discord is definitely the place to go to right after this stream, because there's tons of traders in there looking for more conversation about trading. So just wanted to put that out there, guys. It's 11:03. I got to get the hell out of here, guys. It's been a great day for me. I'll tell you why, because I just stayed patient. Yes, I lost some money, but hey, that's how it goes too. I was able to battle back, bounce, down 250, still up for the week. That's what we talked about. Got to continue that green week, especially tomorrow's my birthday. I ain't trying to ruin all this stuff, man. Come on, man. You don't go, you look to understand sometimes that as a trader, we got to understand when we're in the right mindset, in the wrong mindset, and when we can ruin our mindset, right? Mental capital, so important, especially during this holiday time, right? We all want to be on top of our game. Steve, thanks for joining me like always, my friend. It's always good to have you. I wish you the best of holidays. If I don't see you next week, I understand. If you want, take the day off, my friend. Enjoy it with the fam. And I say that for all traders out there. I will be on next week on the 24th, but we're going to do a little bit of a quick stream. We'll just kind of look into some quick trades, see if we can see some opening momentum. I hope you guys enjoyed it right here. Trade the pool. My man, Steve, give him a good follow. Any last words, Steve, before we get out of here?
No, just happy holidays and happy early birthday. Thanks for having me on, Mitch.
Yeah, and GME to the moon, right?
GME to the moon. Let's go, baby.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing. I know at the end of the day, I'm going to have to take a peek at GME and be like, my man, Steve, man, let's go, guys. I'll see you guys. Take care, man.
Thanks, Mitch.